So most people think retirement is a date, an age you reach, like 65, 67 someday. But in reality, retirement is a number. And if you don't have a plan to hit that number, you'll work until you physically can't. Here's the truth. You don't need to win the lottery, get a high-paying job, or be a Wall Street genius. What you need is a strategy. This video gives you the only plan you'll ever need to retire with good income and a solid retirement fund. And it works whether you're starting at 25 or 55. I'll show you and John how to retire with 10, 20, or 30 years to work with. You'll see exactly how much to invest, what to buy, and how long it takes to start living off passive income. In the end, I'll show you how a targeted portfolio can help you reach $1 million valuation in only 10 years. So let's map out how John is going to retire. To make this work, I'm going with a portfolio of dividend-focused ETFs because they give you instant diversification, low fees, and consistent dividend payments without the headache of picking individual stocks. Plus, most quality ETFs reinvest the dividends for you if you want them to. For John's retirement investment, I'll be taking a monthly or yearly investment, reinvesting every single dividend John gets, and withdrawing only when he retires. So what's the desired amount for John to peacefully retire? Well, for the 10-year plan, I'm targeting $500,000 in value, but still aiming for that $2,000 monthly income because at 10 years, time is not on John's side, so we need to go harder on high-yield stocks and sacrifice some capital appreciation for immediate cash flow. I'll explain this in greater detail later on. Now, for 20 and 30-year plans, I'm chasing a $1 million portfolio goal. In fact, let's start with the most powerful scenario, 30 years to invest, and work our way down to the most intense, just 10 years to make it happen. So I've set 3 different retirement timelines, 10, 20, and 30 years. If you've got 30 years ahead of you, you can afford to be patient and consistent. Even with smaller monthly contributions, you let compounding do its magic. It's a marathon, and your main focus is long-term growth with increasing dividends. In 20 years, you've got a bit less wiggle room. You'll need to contribute more and mix in growth with income, slowly shifting your portfolio to favor dividends as you near the finish line. But if you're starting with only 10 years, you'll need to go hard with aggressive contributions, high-yield dividend ETFs, and real estate to generate strong passive income fast. So which one fits your life? Let's break down each and see what kind of future you can actually build. Scenario 1, retire in 30 years. If you've got 30 years ahead of you, you're in the best position possible. Time is your superpower, and it lets you start small and still end up with a massive retirement fund. John, in this scenario, is aiming for $1.5 million to $4 million in portfolio value, depending on how aggressively he invests. His consistent target? At least $2,000 per month in dividend income, but potentially much more. The best part? With 30 years on his side, John doesn't have to invest huge amounts every single month. He can start with just $500 a month. That's about $120 to $130 a week. Investing in a mix of long-term growth ETFs like VOO and QQQ, paired with dividend-focused funds like DGRO, SCHD, and VYM. This combination delivers a modest 2.25% dividend yield, but a very strong 9.69% average annual return and a dividend CAGR near 9.5%. What makes this so powerful is compounding. You can reinvest every dividend, and over time, those reinvestments snowball. So let's run some numbers. If John invests $500 per month in this portfolio, after year 5, the portfolio will be valued at $38,058. Fast forward to year 10, and it'll grow to $104,829. Give it 10 more years, and in 20 years, the portfolio will reach a solid $426,566. And by the 30-year mark, it'll be valued at around $1,409,749, paying $26,715 in annual dividends, or about $2,226 in monthly dividend income. Goal reached, and he never had to stress his budget to do it. Okay, so now let's up the stakes. Let's say John contributes $1,000 per month to this portfolio. Based on this contribution, John's ending balance would be over $2.8 million, with a monthly dividend income of around $4,452. And if he invests $1,500 per month, after just 1 year, the value of the portfolio would be $18,000 based on his contributions. Fast forward 10 years and it reaches $314,487. At the 20-year mark, it'll be valued at $1,279,698, and by 30 years, that monthly investment of $1,500 balloons to $4,229,247, paying $80,144 in annual dividend income, or about $6,679 per month. Out of that, $670,859 came from reinvested dividends and $3,018,388 from capital appreciation. That's a $3,689,247 total gain from just one decision made early. Incredible return, right? But for some, a 30-year timeline is just too long to wait. Next, I'll show you how to retire in 20 years, and in the end, I'll show you how a targeted portfolio can help you reach $1 million valuation in only 10 years. So scenario 2, retiring in 20 years. 20 years gives you the luxury of balance. You don't have to wait a long time to make use of your fund, and you also don't have to be as aggressive as the 10-year path. More on that later. But you still need to be serious about consistent investing. John, now in his early 30s to early 40s, wants to retire comfortably with $1 million in his portfolio and $2,000 a month in dividend income. That means choosing a portfolio that balances growth and dividends, enough to build value early with strong enough yields to generate income later. For this target, the portfolio mix includes ETFs like SCHD and DGRO for solid investment growth, combined with growth-oriented funds like QQQ. He's also adding value-focused ETFs like XSVM and high dividend yield plays like VYM. This combination gives him an average yield of 2.42%, a dividend growth rate of 10.46%, and strong capital appreciation potential with a projected 8.92% annual return. So while dividends aren't massive in the beginning, they grow steadily and the portfolio keeps expanding, and you don't need as massive a monthly contribution as the 10-year target. So here we go, let's run the numbers. For this portfolio and the 20-year goal, John would only need to invest $1,000 a month, which means after 1 year, he would have invested around $12,000 in this portfolio. By year 5, this portfolio will be valued at $75,411. Fast forward to year 10, and it'll grow to $206,355. Give it 10 more years, and in 20 years, the portfolio will reach a solid $848,636, paying out $24,163 in annual dividend income, or about $2,014 a month in dividends. It's great, but it doesn't quite hit the $1 million target, and monthly dividends are $2,014. But reaching that $1 million target is easily achievable if you add an extra $500 a month. So let's dive into that. What if you invested $1,500 a month in this portfolio? Well, in 20 years, this portfolio is projected to reach $1.27 million, paying around $36,000 in annual dividends. Now, if John goes a step further and invests $2,000 per month, his portfolio would grow to over $1.69 million, paying around $48,000 in annual dividend income. meaning his monthly dividend income would be over $4,000, enough to comfortably retire in most places and still have money growing in the background. This 20-year strategy hits the retirement income goal without demanding sky-high contributions or risky plays. It's ideal for people who are in their mid-40s or who want to enjoy early retirement without waiting until they're 65. So next, let's see what happens when John has only 10 years. Scenario 3, retire in 10 years. If you're looking to retire in just 10 years, your strategy needs to be bold, fast, and laser-focused on dividends. This is for the late starters. Maybe you're in your late 30s, 40s, or even 50s, and you're tired of trading time for money. John, in this scenario, is committing to aggressive investing, pushing $2,500 to $6,000 a month into a dividend-heavy portfolio. His goal? $2,000 per month in dividends and a $500,000 portfolio by year 10. Why such urgency? Because John doesn't have time to wait for long-term growth to kick in. He needs his portfolio to start producing serious cash flow almost immediately after retirement. That's why the 10-year retirement plan is built around REITs, real estate investment trusts, and high-yield ETFs like First Industrial Realty, East Group Properties, Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, the iShares Core Dividend Growth ETF, and iShares Digital Infra and Real Estate ETF. These give high dividends now and still offer a decent shot at capital appreciation. Plus, REITs are legally required to pay out at least 90% of their taxable income as dividends, which is exactly what John needs. This portfolio has a dividend yield of 3.57%, which grows on average by 13.47% each year, and it also has a share price appreciation of 8.71%. Here's what that looks like in real numbers. Let's say John invests $2,500 a month. That's $30,000 a year. Here's the breakdown of his investment based on these metrics in this portfolio. After 1 year, he would have invested around $30,000. After 5 years, his portfolio will be valued at $193,339. And after 10 years, his portfolio value is projected to reach around $563,317. Around that time, it would be paying around $25,546 in annual dividend income, or about $2,100 a month in dividends, enough to cover some living expenses. Mission accomplished. But let's push it further. Suppose John cranks his contributions up to $4,000 a month. Now he's looking at a portfolio value of $901,307 in 10 years. That portfolio, after retirement, would spit out $3,400 per month in dividends, plus even more growth potential if he holds longer. That's a huge upgrade in lifestyle or a cushion for inflation and emergencies. But listen, if John has the resources and appetite to go with $6,000 per month, well, that gives him a war chest of over $1.35 million by year 10 and more than $5,000 per month in dividend income. So is the 10-year dividend retirement goal realistic? Yes, but only if you're consistent, disciplined, and okay with living a bit leaner in the early years of this plan. You're trading comfort now for independence later. And once you get there, every single dividend check is a paycheck you didn't have to work for. All right, so you've seen how John could retire in 10, 20, or 30 years all on dividend income. If you've only got 10, you go hard. High yield, high contribution, fast payoff. 20 years? Well, that's your sweet spot for balance. Growth now, income later. 30 years? You let compounding do the heavy lifting even with smaller monthly payments. This isn't about guessing, it's math, discipline, and time. So the only real question left is, when are you starting? Want to know how to turn a $10,000 investment into a $3.5 million portfolio using ETFs? Click the video on the screen to find out.